Today, we're talking about a topic many parents face at some time: underage drinking. Maybe you think it's just part of growing up, or maybe you've already had a few tough conversations at home. Wherever you are, this episode will help you understand the real risk, the changing trends, and how to talk with your teen with confidence. We have today Jane from Coastal Horizons and also local coalition coordinator. Thanks for joining us, Jane.
Thank you, Deanne. I'm glad to be here and the opportunity to talk about underage drinking.
Okay. Thanks for joining us today. I know it's not an easy topic, but it's one every parent needs to understand. Maybe you've already had that moment of wondering if your teen has tried alcohol, or maybe you just want to know how to prevent it before it starts. Either way, you're in the right place. Today, we'll unpack what some teens choose to drink and how it impacts their developing brains, what the latest research says, and how you can keep communication strong and supported at home. So, our first question for you, Jane, is why do we think some teens start drinking in the first place?
Well, one thing is that we know that teens often turn to alcohol for a quick fix, whether it's for to fit in, to relax. I think the more that we're seeing when it comes to drinking among youth, we're seeing a lot of use due to anxiety or stress. Peer pressure could play a role in it too, but we also have to remember there's also social media and movies that can make drinking really look fun and no consequences with it. Some teens may be drinking because they're curious, even though it might seem like from the outside that there is more drinking going on, there really isn't. There's less underage drinking than what there appears to be.
Thank you for that, Jane. How common do you think drinking for underage youth is today?
Well, we know that underage drinking has gone down over the past decade, but there is still very common among our youth. Alcohol is still one of the number one substances used among our youth today. Reports show us that 1 out of 4 youth have reported using alcohol in the past 30 days, and many have reported actually binge drinking. And when you refer to binge drinking, for males, it's 5 or more drinks in one sitting, and for females, it's 4 or more drinks in one sitting. If you ask why the difference, well, we got to think about that the male body and the female body metabolize alcohol differently. So some of those things that can contribute to the binge drinking is some of the popular fruity drinks that are out there, the alcohol fruity drinks. Some may think that they're safer, but they're not. It's actually really like binge drinking in a can. So when it comes to binge drinking, some things that can contribute to binge drinking is one, teens drink different than adults. Um, Teens don't have that long period of time to drink. So a lot of times they're going to be consuming large amounts in a short amount of time, especially like if they're drinking when they get home from school or if they're drinking at parties. They're going to be drinking more and consuming more than what a normal adult would be in a short time frame. Also, we look at those really popular, alcohol, fruity flavored, sweet, alcohol beverages that are easily available. Those, beverages actually can contain more than 1 serving. When many, youth who are drinking them think that that's just 1 serving, they're actually drinking multiple servings in that type of beverage.
That's a lot to understand. Thank you, Jane. So, Jane, tell us, why do you think drinking is such a big deal for teenagers?
One thing we have to remember is that the adolescent brain is still developing. We know that the brain is still developing up until at least the age of 25, 26. So the adolescent brain is more susceptible to chemistry changes within the brain. We got to remember that the frontal lobe of the brain, especially the adolescent brain, is still developing. That's the part of the brain that controls their self control, their judgment, also their learning. So it interferes. Alcohol can interfere with that brain development. Drinking can also affect the memory, the learning, and emotional health. Even small amounts, alter the brain chemistry more so for a youth than it would an adult.
Do you think that drinking can also put them in risky situations sometimes?
Yes, a lot of times it puts them at a, especially when you're dealing with when that self control or judgment is interfered with, they're more at risk for taking riskier behaviors. whether that's driving impaired or engaging in unplanned or unprotected sex.
Thank you, Jane. Some parents think that they should teach their teens to drink responsibly by giving them alcohol before it is legal to do so. Tell me what you think about that.
I think a lot of parents have good intentions or want to protect their youth or think they're keeping them safe when they're trying to teach them responsible drinking, or they think that they're teaching responsible drinking, or that it's safer for them to drink at home so they can watch them. When actually we're still looking at that risk of, addiction because the brain is still developing. We're also looking at those who tend to drink at home are probably most likely drinking outside of the home too. We have a tendency to really it's kinda like setting the youth up for some false security when they do step outside the home situation. They're not gonna have those safety boundaries in place, and they're gonna probably be taking more risk when they don't have those parental directions or, like I said, those safety boundaries that they would have at home.
Thank you for that perspective, Jane, about keeping teens safe. What do you think are some warning signs that my teen might be drinking that I should be aware of?
There are some obvious signs, of course, the smelling of alcohol, the red eyes, secretive behavior. Others can be subtle, like changes in moods, slipping grades, unexplained tiredness, or even a new group of friends. But one thing the parents need to remember is that they know their teen best. So if something feels off, it's worth checking into calmly and directly.
Thank you, Jane. How can I start the conversation with them if I'm going to talk to them without it sounding like I'm accusing them?
Well, the key is not to confront them. I know sometimes parents might really get upset or concerned when they learn that their team is drinking, but just don't come at it accusatorily or confrontationally. You might want to just address them by saying, "I've been hearing a lot about teens and alcohol lately. What is it like at your school? What are you seeing?" This can actually help open the door without any kind of judgment. Listen to your teen when they talk. Uh, Share facts with them that can be relatable to them, letting them know that, like, if they're really into sports, how it can impact their sports performance, or how can it even impact their grades or things that are very important to them. The goal isn't to lecture, it's just to mainly to keep that communication open so that they'll come to you, knowing that they can trust you and that you're going to listen to them.
So, Jane, tell me about what kind of messaging should parents be giving their young people at home?
First of all, they need to give them clear expectations. They need to let them know that no use, no exceptions. Let them know that they care, that they're concerned about their safety, that they're concerned about their health, and letting them know that um, they can talk to them. I know we've said talking to them and communication is very clear, but I also want to add that sometimes your youth may be put in a situation that if they go off with friends, that friend may end up drinking, and so they need to feel like they can actually call that parent, to come and pick them up without feeling like there'll be any kind of negative consequences. Um, Another message or things that parents can do is monitor their alcohol, and show responsible drinking themselves. Monitor their alcohol in the home, place it out of sight, if necessary, lock it up.
So, what should I do if I discover that my teen's been drinking or experimenting with alcohol? Is there anything that you can recommend?
First of all, don't freak out. Stay calm. Um, Try not to act within anger or panic, because that could just shut down the communication with your team. Make sure your team is safe. And once things have cooled down, have a conversation about what happened. Have those open ended questions like, help me understand what led to this decision, or what was going on that night or during that event. Use this as an opportunity to talk about expectations and consequences and safety, not punishment. You can tell them, I'm disappointed, but I care about your health and your choices. If it seems like drinking is becoming a pattern, make sure you reach out for support from your pediatrician or from a counselor.
Jane, this has been some really great information. Is there anything that I can do to help prevent my young person from underage drinking in the first place?
Yes. Stay connected. Again, set clear expectations. Know where your teens are, who they're with, and what they're doing. But do it from a place of care and not control. Again, model responsible behavior yourself. Teens pay more attention to what we do than what we say. Sometimes we not realize that, but that does. Celebrate their good choices. Reinforce that choosing not to drink takes strength and confidence and not weakness.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Jane. Are there any last closing comments or advice you can give parents?
Well, we know that navigating the teen years or even the preteen years can be complicated, can be a struggle. Being a parent isn't being perfect, but it is about being present. Talking about alcohol sometimes can be a little uncomfortable, not sure how to start the questions, but just be honest. Have caring conversations. Plant seeds of safety and trust in your youth. When we set clear expectations and model healthy habits, we send a powerful message that you're valued, that you're capable, and that we want you to have a safe and healthy future. Remember that our influences do matter. No matter how much that youth rolls their eyes or sucks their teeth, they are listening to you. And your words do matter and they do make an impact on them.
That's been great information, Jane. Are there any resources you might recommend for parents as well?
Yes, actually, I'll first inform them about their local resources. Coastal Horizon Center's Wilmington Health Access for Teens is a great resource for parents. It's located right there in Medical Center Drive here in Wilmington. Online resources could be things like Operation Parent, which has some really great resources and tools for parents. They can even reach out to the C or look up the CDC and NIDA, which gives some really great resources and informations to parents and adults about the impact of alcohol on the adolescent brain and the body.
Thank you so much for joining us today, James.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.